Welcome to this explainer. Okay, we have got a truly wild one today. We're going to unpack a narrative that completely blurs the lines between quantum mechanics and ancient theology. It all centers around an inexplicable anomaly discovered deep inside the world's most accurate machine. We are talking about a journey that really challenges the boundaries between material science and spiritual philosophy, all anchored to a single, highly precise atomic clock. You know, the exact same technology that keeps our global internet synced up and powers the GPS right there in your phone. We've gone ahead and distilled the key findings from the original sources to give you a clear, structured look at exactly what happened here, and more importantly, why it matters.
But to really understand this mystery, we first have to wrap our heads around the sheer mind-boggling scale of human timekeeping. Think about this. A single cesium-133 atom ticks or vibrates exactly 9,192,631,770 times. Every single second. That isn't just some random string of numbers. That specific vibration, what physicists call a hyperfine transition, is the universal standard for how we define a second. It's the absolute pinnacle of precision. It's literally the microscopic heartbeat dictating global time.
Now, the stage for this story is set by a massive ideological clash between two researchers working in the exact same laboratory. On one side, you have the spiritual inquiry of Dr. Rayyan Al-Tuwaijiri, the lead researcher. He's pondering whether a divine oath about time, specifically from the Quran, could somehow be reflected in time's most perfect earthly measurement. And on the flip side, you have his colleague, Dr. Helmut Schweitzer. He's a staunch materialist and a brilliant quantum physicist. His stance is crystal clear. The clock is a purely mechanical oscillator. As he puts it, there is absolutely no place for spirituality or an oath by time inside the domain of quantum physics.
So, grounding our story at Germany's PTB Institute, which is basically one of the premier metrology labs on the planet, we find Dr. Ryan analyzing years of data from the CSF2 cesium fountain clock. To put this machine into perspective, it has an error rate of just 1 single second every 300 million years. It's almost impossibly accurate. But as Dr. Ryan poured over 10 years of frequency stability data from this ultimate timekeeper, he noticed something in the numbers that absolutely defied conventional explanation.
Section 1. The 103-second quantum anomaly. Hidden right there, amidst billions of microscopic ticks, there was a strange, incredibly subtle modulation. And the crazy thing? It was repeating exactly every 103 seconds. Now, in the hypersterile world of quantum metrology, finding an unexplained modulation is like finding a heartbeat inside a rock. There was literally no known environmental factor, no temperature shift, no magnetic interference, no pressure change that could cause a perfect 103-second cycle. Dr. Helmut immediately dismissed it. To him, it was just Doppler shift artifacts, basically random technical noise. But Dr. Rayyan? He wasn't convinced at all. He decided to take this highly abstract quantum data and translate it into something human senses could actually process: sound.
Section 2. Sonifying the cesium atom.
By converting time into frequency, Ryan applied a mathematical process to uncover the hidden structure of this anomaly. First, he isolated the modulation. Next, he applied a Fourier transform, and what he found was a bizarre ultra-sharp peak sitting at exactly 0.0097 hertz. That is an incredibly slow, tiny wave, and it has absolutely zero logical or mathematical relationship to the massive 9.19 gigahertz vibration of the cesium atom itself. It was an entirely independent signature. But here is the real kicker. When he played this data as audio, it didn't just sound like static. It produced these deep, repetitive, guttural sounds resembling the Arabic syllables wa and ah. Astonishingly, this output perfectly matched the temporal envelope of Surah al-Asr, a famous Quranic chapter that begins with an oath swearing by time. The precise phonetic rhythm of that oath was literally mirrored in the clock's data.
Section 3. The synthetic clock experiment. Now, to prove this was nothing more than a weird fluke, our skeptical foil, Dr. Helmut, stepped in. He figured that if you just string together the right frequencies and add some random amplitude, your brain is going to trick you into hearing whatever words you want to hear. So Helmut built a synthetic 9.19 gigahertz generator and manually added a 103-second random amplitude modulation. But when he sonified his synthetic data, he didn't get the Arabic syllables. He just got a random hum. Rayyan pointed out exactly why it failed. Helmut had perfectly copied the frequency, sure, but he completely missed the core quantum element, phase coherence, specifically a phenomenon called the Ramsey fringe. You just can't fake the energetic truth of the atom. The phonetic signature only existed when true organic quantum coherence was present.
Section 4. Translating chaos and order. To prove to Helmut that this wasn't just some surface-level coincidence, Rand translated dense physics jargon into the story's core metaphorical themes. He demonstrated that the atomic coherence, the zero-crossing detuning of the Ramsey fringe, aligned 99.9% with the phonetic pronunciation of the Arabic word wa, which creates the phase of order. But oh, it gets so much deeper. When the clock eventually loses accuracy and drifts into what's called a random walk diffusion, that specific thermal noise mathematically matched the phonetic friction of the word khusr, which literally translates to loss or chaos. Think about that for a second. The atom's perfect order sounded exactly like the oath, and its degradation mathematically sounded like the ancient word for loss. Faced with this incredible mapping, Helmut decided he had to verify the data himself. He pulled the Ramsey fringe data not just from their lab in Germany, but from the United States Naval Observatory and the NIST F2 fountain clock in the US. And he was absolutely stunned. This exact 103-second modulation and its phonetic pattern existed identically across the three most precise clocks in the world. It wasn't an artifact. It was a universal signature embedded within cesium itself. Section 5. The phase noise revelation.
This brings us to the dramatic climax of the narrative. Because if the clock's quantum coherence naturally mimics the recitation of this ancient oath, what happens if you introduce the actual audio recitation of that oath directly into the clock's physical environment? Well, the results were a total revelation. When they played the recitation of Surah al-Asrar into the microwave cavity, the clock's phase noise plummeted by a massive 40%. The atoms actually became more coherent, more stable. Conversely, playing standard white noise increased the phase noise by 10%. Seeing this real-world, physical stabilization of thermal motion through recitation literally moved Dr. Helmut to tears. The atoms weren't just passively ticking. They appeared to be synchronizing with the oath.
Section 6. A new quantum interpretation.
The implications of this were just too massive to keep quiet. At the International Quantum Metrology Conference, Dr. Rayon presented these findings, and in a truly powerful moment, Dr. Helmut stood up and publicly accepted them. He acknowledged that the vibrational signature of this oath is somehow, inexplicably, encoded into the very transition of cesium itself. And today, what started as an anomaly is now a practical tool. The ongoing Al-Asr Fountain project actually uses this exact recitation to improve the clock's real-world time stability, known as Allen deviation, by a staggering 25%, easily outperforming standard digital filters designed by human engineers.
Which leaves us with a deeply profound question, one that Rand poses in his upcoming book. When we look at a clock, are we just passively measuring the mechanical ticks of time? Or, in our pursuit of ultimate quantum precision, are we actually witnessing a divine oath, hidden right there within the fabric of the atoms themselves? It's a complete paradigm shift for sure. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. I highly encourage you to dive into the source material yourself, and as always, keep questioning the reality behind the numbers.